In this video, we're going to focus on establishing and managing customer expectations. In other words, communication. Communication is one of the most often overlooked aspects of the CSA experience and one of the biggest reasons people leave a CSA. Without proper communication, customers have no idea what to expect. From sign-up to delivery to what grows in season and when, there's a lot your members need to understand to have a good experience. Without proper communication, members are left confused, frustrated, and often unhappy with the CSA. The only way to ensure happy customers is to communicate with them. Communicating with your CSA members is a non-negotiable part of your weekly routine. With examples from various farms, we will help you see how communication can establish and manage customer expectations. We will do this by sharing the annual arc of CSA communications. We'll explain how it relates to retention and an overall positive experience for your customers. We'll also share some basic tools and strategies you can use. We hope that after viewing this video, you understand that consistent and regular member communication is an essential part of CSA. As we discussed in the previous video, setting and managing expectations begins well before you accept payment or deliver a CSA share. The way you present your farm and market to potential customers offers a really good sense of who you are and what your members' experience will look like. For more information on this, be sure to watch video 7, titled Marketing the CSA Farm. We're going to begin the arc of CSA communications with the moment your customer clicks purchase. This is when someone officially becomes a member of your CSA. How you respond to that purchase tells your customer a lot. For many farms, this comes in January or February, months before the season begins. How do you communicate about that purchase? Do you send an email, a Facebook message, a phone call? Do you thank them? Do you prepare them for what's ahead? Do you send them any content or farm information to build excitement?
Hi, my name is Corinna Bench, and I'm one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms, which is a 400-member certified organic CSA farm out in Elmore, Ohio. My husband and I have been running this farm since 2008. We started out with 12 customers and doubled in size every year until we reached the magic number of 400 people. We have a very resilient and loyal CSA. We have about a 91% retention rate from year to year. So I'm here to tell you about what my onboarding process looks like. It all starts with the confirmation email that gets kicked out immediately after someone purchases our CSA. And we think this is a really important piece of the process because it's the first impression moment. We want them to know we got their order, and inside of that onboarding email, we let them know what the next steps are, where they need to send their payment, and we welcome them. After that, there are 3 different emails that kick out over the course of about 7 days, and each one has a different, very specific message. The first one is just a welcome email to tell the origin story of our farm, and we invite them into that story. The second one is where we invite them into our Facebook group for our CSA members. This is a major value add for our CSA offer. It's where our customers meet each other, where we share recipes, where they learn how to become CSA masters. The third email is where we deliver a beginner's guide to CSA ebook. They can read through it in 10 minutes. We want them to have all the information they can possibly have on the front end to feel ready and equipped so that they're excited.
So what comes next? After you've thanked or acknowledged the customer for signing up, how do you engage with them until the season begins? And as you get closer to the first delivery, how do you share key details like pickup times, delivery locations, and pickup instructions? Between member sign-up and the first CSA box, at our farm we send out 2 pre-season newsletters, one 4 weeks before the season and a second 1 week before the season. As the season approaches, it's really important to share how your actual farming experience is going. Sometimes the shift can be difficult. As we focus on sharing CSA processes and helping ensure everyone is ready for the first delivery, it can be hard to also update your members on production. But it is one of the most important things you can do. If things are going well or not so well, this is your time to start bolstering community. A CSA member that feels included and informed is going to be much more understanding about a failed crop than one who had no idea it was coming. Sharing with your CSA members about how things are looking in the field is a key element of CSA communications. There are many ways to communicate field conditions. In pre-season emails, in weekly newsletters once the CSA has started, in blog posts, or on social media, through words, videos, or pictures with captions. At One Seed Farm, we manage member expectations regarding harvest issues with brutal honesty. We feel that transparency is the most important part of setting expectations. The important thing to note here is that there is both a good and a bad way to share these field notes. It's important you help your CSA members understand the realities of farming and what bad things may be happening in the fields. But they don't need to hear you complain. Inexperience is not an excuse. The CSA model protects the farmer from things like severe pest or disease damage, extreme weather events like hail, tornadoes, or extremely heavy rains, and any other unpredictable factors that could not have been mitigated through good farming practices. It's important to share what could or could not have been done to prevent or limit negative effects. Help your members understand how hard you're working and how things can still go wrong. Also, work to balance the positive with the negative. Don't only share stories of gloom and doom, as it may discourage your members in the long run. Though a handful of crops may be failing, several others may be doing quite well. Be sure to tell the whole story as often as you can. Aside from communicating what's happening in the fields, it's really important to help your CSA members feel prepared for what's coming as much as you can during the CSA season. We'll talk a lot more about education and resource sharing in the next video, but what we're talking about here is helping members know exactly what produce they'll be receiving as early as you can. Even with great educational resources, your members are still going to want to look up recipes, meal plan, and grocery shop in advance of the CSA delivery, so they can get playing with their food as soon as it arrives. The early and more accurate list of veggies you provide your members, the happier they will be.
Hi, my name is Katie Bishop, and I'm with Prairie Earth Farm. Together with my husband, we raise 55 acres of vegetables in central Illinois. So for our CSA, we let our members know what's going to be in their share up to 4 days before the shares are distributed. We're able to do this because we grow a lot of product, and so we know we're going to have enough to give our members. And in the rare cases that we don't, we just sub it with something else and let them know, and they're very patient with us. This way they have time over the weekend to prepare, go grocery shopping, and do meal planning. Our members really, really like this because sometimes they also want to go to the farmer's market and they don't want to duplicate purchases that they're going to be getting in their CSA share that following week.
Like it or not, CSA can be tricky for some folks to remember. It's a weekly thing that occurs for part, but usually not all of the year. Some people are full share members getting weekly shares. Others are half share members getting bi-weekly shares. Remembering to pick up that share can be hard for some folks. Don't stress. Just do your part in helping members remember it's CSA Day. This can be done a lot of different ways. A newsletter early in the week, a text reminder on the day of delivery. Maybe you have an app that you can use for this. There are Facebook group alerts, etc. Once the CSA season has begun to wind down, communication is still paramount. As the last boxes are being delivered, it's really important to think through how you want to acknowledge your member support. Many members spend at least $500 to be a part of your farm for the year. That is not a small sum of money, and it easily could have been spent elsewhere. How will you show your gratitude for your members spending their summer with your farm? Will you send thank you cards or a surprise gift? Will you acknowledge their support in a newsletter or on social media? Will you call out people who've been especially kind or helpful, such as worker shares or site hosts?
I'm here to share some ideas for how to thank your members at the end of the season. One of the things that we do is that we write a heartfelt send-off in our final email newsletter. We normally spend a lot of time on that every week, but we spend a lot of time on it for the final week. So we really want them to know that we appreciate how they've stood behind us in years past. We usually do a top 10 review of our favorite moments of the CSA, and we remind them that they were a part of that story. And we've also done a farm potluck event, not always right at the end of the season, but close to the end of the season, so that people know this is a way for us to celebrate the season together and to thank them for being a part of standing behind our farm.
It's also a great idea to provide closure on a season. Members will be interested in knowing how your season went, how they can stay in touch, and how they can continue to support you. Working those messages into your final newsletters will help keep people around for the long term. And lastly, you may want to consider collecting feedback from your CSA members. Year-end surveys are the most common way to get feedback, and there are some really good resources available on how to construct them. It's a good time to collect testimonials and to understand how to make adjustments to your CSA in the future. Other CSAs utilize a core group of members where there is a post-season conversation about how things went and how things can be adjusted. As you can see, communication is really something a good CSA farmer needs to be thinking about most weeks of the year. Communication needs are greater during difficult times of the season when a lot of farmers want to be focusing 100% of their energy on production. This is not a drawback of the CSA movement. In fact, the effort spent on communication will be paid back exponentially in long-term customers, profits, and income stability. However, it is something that must be a priority. As you review this content and progress through your workbook, take a little time to think through whether or not ongoing communication with customers is something that appeals to you, and if so, how you can find a way to make time for it.